welcome back to the channel. Today we're taking a look. We're doing some swatches. We're going to compare. I have all of the new Wet n Wild reformulated, repackaged eyeshadow palettes. So the larger pan palettes are $4.99 each with 2 additional shades. Here we have the original Comfort Zone, and on this side is the new. So you've got the 2 transition colors that are completely matte at the top and the bottom. And then with the 3 pan palettes, they also reformulated and repackaged them, and also they include 1 matte transition shade at the top, and these retail for $2.99 each. So here is the old 3 pan palette. This one is Silent Treatment, and this is the new one. At the back of each palette, you will see a little diagram here, and they are all numbered, which I think is pretty cool. That way, if you are doing a tutorial, you can easily just tell someone like, hey, I'm using number 1, number 4 over here. I don't know, I kind of like that. So they do have them numbered on the back, and they do give you a little tutorial for like a nighttime and a daytime look. By the way, I'm actually wearing both of these palettes on my eyes today. I want you guys to leave a comment down below and tell me which side do you think is with the old palette and which side do you think is with the new palette. I'm really curious to see if you guys can guess it right, because I did film a video comparing these palettes. One eye is the original and one eye is the new one. Alright, let's talk about the Comfort Zone palette. This palette definitely has a lot of shimmers, and I know a lot of people have been asking and begging Wet n Wild to come out with some transition colors, like including some mattes. So they did listen, and they did put some matte shades in all of the larger pan palettes. And like I showed you in the beginning of this video, there's one at the top and one at the bottom. And I like that it's a larger pan, so you get more product, because as you all know, you go through transition shades really, really fast. So I like that they provide a larger amount of a transition color. I love the mattes in here. The 2 transition shades are perfect. They're really warm toned, very earthy, they're very pigmented, they're smooth, they're creamy. Great, great, great formula. All of the shimmery shades in here that are supposedly reformulated from the original palette, I definitely feel like they're less creamy, they're not as smooth. I do find that these 2 shades here, this really nice soft kind of taupey color in the original palette is one of my favorite eyeshadows of all time. It's actually a dupe for Maui Wowie from Urban Decay. It's one of my favorites. Like, you can tell. I mean, I've hit pan on this one and I love it. And unfortunately, it is different. In this palette, it's more of a beige tone, and it's not that nice cool kind of silver taupe shade, which I am obsessed with and I love. It's so beautiful. Overall, I do like the palette. It's not a bad palette at all, but I do feel like the formula of the shadows are very different from the original. I do like the new palette, but I feel like for me, this original, so much better, so much better. Alright guys, moving on to the next palette here, we have Nude Awakening, and I do have the original of this one as well. So, Nude Awakening, this is the original one, and I love this palette. I've mentioned it before in my videos. Great formula, great mattes in here, great shimmers, and I'm not sure why they changed this. I really don't understand. I believe this was limited edition, but I always saw this at Walmart and Meyer. I see this all the time, so I'm not sure if they are going to discontinue this. I'm guessing since they made a new palette that they probably will, which is sad because I really love this palette so much. There's already transition colors in the Nude Awakening palette, so I'm not sure why they repackaged and redid it, but at least you get a larger pan of those 2 transition colors. I will say the bottom one matches the original palette perfectly. It's a dead on, you know, it's the same color, and I feel like the formula is very comparable. But this top one here, you guys, the lighter one, no, it's different. I was really, really let down because this was one of my favorite transition colors from the original palette. It's a very soft kind of taupey mauve shade, a nice rosy tone, which I think really paired well with some of these like pinky and rose gold, and you got this beautiful burgundy shade in this palette. It's just ever so slightly different, so it is going to make your eye look slightly altered, maybe not as warm. So this one definitely pulls more brown. It doesn't have that nice sort of mauve-y rose tone to it. Also, I want to point out that the burgundy shade in the new palette is slightly different as well. It definitely pulls more brown. and I definitely see a huge difference in how it looks on the eyes. And definitely the matte black. I think the matte black in the new palette here, you will see in the swatches, it's not as dark. It is a dark shade, but I don't find this to be completely matte. There is a little bit of shimmer to it. I mean, you can still use it, you can still make it work, but I just love the black shadow from the original palette. It's so pigmented. It's one of my favorite matte black shadows from the drugstore. So I'm really let down with this one. I feel like you can get the same sort of look with the new palette versus the old, but in the end, some of the shades are altered and they're not the same. So just putting it out there, if you love the original or if you missed out on this, definitely go pick this up before it's gone. Okay, so the last comparison I have here is Silent Treatment. This is one of my favorite trios from Wet n Wild ever, and it's mainly this shade right here. It's this beautiful shimmery taupe mauve purple color. It's just the perfect combination of everything. You guys know I love those types of shades. Unfortunately, I feel like this was the biggest letdown because even though I don't reach for those other two shades, I feel like the ones in here were very dry feeling, especially the deeper shade in here was very dry when I went to swatch it, and I'm just not impressed. The pigmentation is just really lacking. The shimmery shade is actually slightly different in tone. I feel like this one has a little bit more pink in the original palette. So the original shade here that I told you I really love is very different from the new one. The new one is very soft. It is not as pigmented and the tone is different. It is not the same color. So they unfortunately have changed the color of that eyeshadow, which makes me extremely sad. You best believe I'm going to go out and try to find 2 or 3 backups of this because I love that shadow so much. I am super sad. Really disappointed in this palette. I don't really recommend this one. So the other 2 palettes, they also reformulated. We have here Walking on Eggshells and Sweet as Candy. I'll go ahead and talk about Walking on Eggshells first. These 2 are really not my favorite, to be honest, and I did declutter the original palette, so I'm sorry guys I don't have them here to swatch for you, but I still think this palette is really nice. I noticed a huge difference in the eyelid shade versus the original. I remember it being a lot softer. This one has a lot more pink to it, so it does seem different. I really like the transition color in here though. It's really pretty. This is just not my favorite color palette. Not my favorite at all. But, I mean, the shadows are okay. I don't know if I will reach for it that much. And then the next one here is Sweet as Candy. And this one, again, I can tell a difference in the pink eyelid shade here. It's definitely more pink. It's very intense, very shimmery. I think the texture of this palette is better than the last one. Again, I really do like the transition color. So these 3 are brand new, added to the line. So you got 3 of the original and 3 new quads here. So the first one here is called Petalette, and I don't think they're going to bring back, there was like, what, Petal Pusher was a really popular, the larger pan one. So this is like a smaller version of that. So we've got, again, another beautiful matte transition shade. I have to say, these did not feel very nice. When I went to touch these and swatch them, they were very crumbly, lots of fallout, very flaky, especially this brow bone shade and this dark purple, very flaky. So I don't know how this is going to perform in the eyes. I'll still have to play around with this because I haven't used this on my eyes yet. But if you are looking for a really pretty purple eyeshadow palette, I'm sure this can create a really nice soft purpley eye look. Alright, this next one, you guys, I am in love with. I definitely recommend. This one is called Hooked on Vinyl. I did a Get Ready With Me on Instagram Live just last Saturday, and it was so much fun. And also the look came out really nice. And this is the little quad that I used. Love this transition color. It's the perfect buttery yellow tan color, perfect in the crease. It's just so pretty. You've got a really nice soft brow bone highlight, this beautiful bronzy shade, and this green is to die for. It's like a forest teal green. It is so beautiful. You do have to build this up, but oh my gosh, once you put it all over the eyelid, it is so pretty. I will also insert the look that I did with this palette so you guys can see what it looks like, and I loved it. I loved how it turned out. I will definitely be reaching for this again. I think this is my favorite out of the 4 pan palettes. Alright, so last but definitely not least, we have here Lights Out, and this again, oh, I love the colors in this palette. I just have a feeling this one's going to be good, so I can't wait to play around with this and do a look with it. Love the transition color. It's that deep kind of gray taupe shade. I'm living for this crease color. You got a beautiful shimmery like white frosty color to highlight with. This is a deep matte black with beautiful flecks of shimmer throughout. I do wish it was completely matte and not any glitter, but it does look really pretty swatched out. And then you got this beautiful, again, a beautiful green. This one compared to the last one is definitely a softer green. It's more of like a sage color. Really pretty, very like metallic looking. So this one I'm really excited for. They did swatch really nicely. They felt really smooth, and I really liked the quality of this one. Alright, so switching back to the last two larger palettes. These are brand new. So the other two are repeats and reformulated, but these are brand spanking new. This is Rose in the Air, and this is a beautiful palette, you guys. Wait till you see the swatches. It is beautiful. You've got, again, those two beautiful matte transition colors. I am obsessed with this transition color at the bottom. It is the most beautiful mustard brown. I'm so in love with it. I'm so obsessed with like mustard browns and yellows. So in this palette, you only have two shimmery shades, which I wish that it was just all matte, because I don't find the two shimmer shades in this palette are all that great. They're not the best quality. I have played around with this palette, and I also did a look with this as well, and I'll insert a quick photo of that look. Love how this palette performs. Beautiful pigmentation, and again, since all of the shades in here are mostly matte, the mattes are just incredible. Now, I don't own the Anastasia Renaissance palette, but everyone is saying that this is a dupe, and I definitely think it is. Definitely check out Beauty with Emily Fox. I'll put her video and channel down below. Definitely check out her video. She did a full like tutorial comparing both sides and swatches as well, if you guys want to see swatches and comparisons. I don't have that palette because I honestly don't reach for colors like this a whole lot, and now that I have this palette, I really don't see the need to spend money on the Modern Renaissance palette. So this is perfect for me. It's compact, it's small, it's only $4.99, you guys. I think this is such a great bargain from the drugstore and a really great dupe as well. So definitely check out her video if you want to see swatches, but this palette is phenomenal. Alright guys, last but not least, we have Not a Basic Peach, and this again is another brand new palette. And the colors in here are so vibrant and bright. They made me think of summertime. I think this would be a great spring and summertime palette. Now, I haven't really used this a whole lot on the eyes, so I definitely want to play around with this more. But again, the mattes are amazing and the shimmers are really lacking. And unfortunately, there's a lot of shimmers in here versus the mattes. I think you have the two matte transition shades and then only two matte eyeshadows of the smaller ones. I do think this palette is beautiful, so if you're looking for a really fun, colorful palette, I mean, this one is really affordable, and yeah, this one's really pretty. I definitely think I will get some use out of this in the summertime. So my final thoughts, do I think the new palettes are better than the original palettes? No, I really don't. I feel like the mattes, again, the mattes are amazing, and I love that they did add the two transition colors to make it a little bit easier so you don't have to reach for another palette. For me personally, and how I feel, I wish they would have just kept the palettes the way they were, keep that amazing, beautiful formula, and just come out with some all matte eyeshadow palettes. Like 2 or 3 different matte palettes with all different tones and colors and variations, but have them be all matte, and that way you could use that matte palette with all of your favorite Wet n Wild eyeshadows. I think that makes more sense to me personally. They went above and beyond with the matte shades, but they completely changed the formulation of the shimmery and more like satin metallic shades. And they're just not the same quality. It's just not that smooth, super pigmented, rich, easy to work with, crazy pigmented formulation that I really loved from the original palette. So if you love your comfort zone, I would highly recommend going out and buying some backups before they're all gone, because these are being discontinued. Those are just my thoughts and swatches. I hope you guys found this helpful if you're thinking of getting the new Wet n Wild products. Have you guys tried them yet? Did you think the new palettes are better than the originals? I'm really curious to hear your thoughts. Let's chat down below in the comment section. So thank you guys so much for watching. If you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button. It's completely free and I post new videos every Tuesday, Friday, and sometimes on Sunday. I will see you all in the next video. Remember, smarter beauty is better beauty. Bye guys.